Have you ever found yourself desperately chasing happiness, thinking that if you just do enough, have enough, or become enough, you'll finally feel fulfilled? If you've been there, you're not alone. But what if I told you that this constant pursuit of happiness might actually be making you more miserable? In this video, we're going to talk about a powerful concept that could change the way you look at life: the law of backfire. This principle suggests that the more you chase positive experiences, the more likely you are to experience the opposite. Stick with me, because we're about to dive deep into this paradox that could help you stop feeling stuck and frustrated. Life often feels like an endless pursuit of something better, something more. We're told that happiness, success, and fulfillment are always just around the corner. But here's the catch: the harder we chase those things, the more elusive they become. It's a cycle we fall into, and it's one that leaves us feeling increasingly dissatisfied, like we're always running but never really getting anywhere. This concept is captured in a simple but profound idea: the law of backfire, a principle popularized by Mark Manson in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FAK. It suggests that the more we pursue happiness and positive experiences, the more likely we are to end up feeling unhappy and unsatisfied. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself that you'll finally be happy once you land that promotion, buy that car, or find your soulmate? We convince ourselves that once we have these things, all of our problems will vanish and life will finally feel complete. But instead of satisfaction, we often end up feeling more anxious, restless, and, well, not much different at all. This paradox lies at the core of the law of backfire. Let's break it down a bit. At its core, the law of backfire tells us that chasing happiness is, in itself, a form of resistance to the present moment. When we constantly look for something outside of ourselves to bring us joy, we're essentially rejecting the current reality. This leaves us feeling like we're constantly lacking, which, ironically, makes us less likely to experience the very thing we're chasing. Take happiness, for instance. We all want it, right? But if you're constantly running after it, you're reinforcing the idea that you don't already have it. You begin to believe that happiness is something that exists somewhere out there in the future, when in reality, it's something that can only exist in the present. Think about the last time you worked hard for something you thought would make you happy. Maybe it was that promotion you thought would give you the sense of achievement you were craving. You worked long hours, sacrificed your weekends, and pushed yourself to the limit. Then, when you finally got the promotion, it felt anticlimactic. Sure, there was some initial excitement, but soon enough, the happiness faded, and you were left with the nagging feeling that there must be something more to life. Let me share a quick story that illustrates this point. A few years ago, I met someone who, on paper, seemed to have it all. They had a high-paying job, a beautiful house, a shiny new car, and a seemingly perfect life. But after getting to know them better, I realized that they were constantly stressed out and unhappy. They were always focused on the next goal. First, it was getting the job. Then, it was climbing the corporate ladder. After that, it was buying a bigger house. But no matter how many goals they checked off their list, they never felt fulfilled. They were stuck in a cycle of constant striving, and the happiness they imagined would come from each new achievement always seemed just out of reach. One day, they finally admitted to me that they were exhausted. They had been chasing happiness for so long that they couldn't remember what it felt like to just be content. It was a wake-up call for them. They had spent so much energy trying to arrive at happiness that they had forgotten how to enjoy the journey. So how do we break free from this cycle of chasing happiness? The first step is to stop seeing happiness as something we need to earn or achieve. It's not something we get by checking off a list of accomplishments or ticking off boxes. It's about understanding that happiness doesn't come from the future. It's something that can only exist in the present. Here's the paradox. The more you stop chasing happiness, the more likely it is to find you. Instead of desperately trying to force yourself into a state of perpetual joy, focus on accepting the moment as it is. Happiness isn't the absence of problems. It's the ability to embrace life as it comes, with all its ups and downs. But how do you do that? How do you stop chasing something that seems so elusive? Well, here are 3 practical steps you can take. Practice mindfulness. Start by becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Instead of constantly seeking happiness, learn to sit with the discomfort. When you allow yourself to feel whatever comes up, whether it's joy, sadness, frustration, or anxiety, you're less likely to resist your emotions, which ultimately leads to more peace and fulfillment. Set more meaningful goals. Focus on goals that are about the process, not just the outcome. Instead of aiming for a promotion or a new car, aim for growth, learning, or building relationships. When the journey itself becomes the reward, the end result won't feel as empty. Let go of expectations. Stop expecting life to always be perfect. The more we expect things to go a certain way, the more disappointed we feel when they don't. Accept that life has its ups and downs, and be okay with that. It's in those unpredictable moments that true growth happens. The hardest part of embracing the law of backfire is learning how to accept discomfort and negativity. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. After all, we live in a culture that tells us to avoid negativity at all costs and to always seek happiness. But here's where it gets interesting. Embracing the negative can actually be a powerful path to greater fulfillment. Imagine this. You've had a tough day. Everything seems to be going wrong, and you're feeling frustrated. Your instinct might be to immediately try to fix your mood, perhaps by distracting yourself with social media, food, or even a new goal. But instead of doing that, what if you just sat with the frustration for a moment? What if you acknowledged it without judgment and allowed it to be there? Here's the thing. Negative emotions, like frustration or sadness, aren't inherently bad. In fact, they can be incredibly useful. They can teach you something about your values, your boundaries, and your needs. By accepting these emotions instead of resisting them, you free yourself from the constant chase for happiness. You allow yourself to feel what's real without trying to control it or run from it. It's in these moments of discomfort that we can make the most profound changes. Instead of pushing away the negative feelings, you learn to embrace them as part of the human experience. This shift in perspective allows you to find more peace and authenticity in your life. And over time, it's that authenticity that leads to real happiness, not the kind you chase, but the kind that emerges naturally when you stop running from the present moment. A huge part of breaking free from the law of backfire is developing self-awareness. The more you understand your own thoughts, desires, and triggers, the better equipped you are to avoid falling into the trap of constant striving. Now that you understand the law of backfire, you might be wondering how to truly let go of the constant chase for happiness. It's a process, and it takes practice. But if you focus on 3 key actions, embracing the present moment, setting meaningful goals, and cultivating self-awareness, you'll begin to break the cycle of chasing and start living more fully. Here's a quick recap of the key takeaways. Stop running after happiness. Happiness isn't something you achieve. It's something you cultivate through how you live, think, and engage with the world. Embrace discomfort. Don't fear negative emotions or uncomfortable situations. Instead of running from them, learn to sit with them and see what they teach you. Focus on self-awareness. Tune in to your thoughts, feelings, and desires. Notice when you're pursuing something from a place of lack and shift your focus back to the present moment and what truly matters. The law of backfire shows us that the pursuit of happiness, if done without understanding, can actually lead to its opposite. It's not about abandoning goals or ambitions. It's about shifting your mindset. Stop chasing happiness like a prize to be won and start cultivating it by living authentically, accepting life's challenges, and focusing on the present.